السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين. أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Before I start, I would like to request you to remember all the marhumin, especially our ulama, our teachers, our parents who have passed away, or foreparents, in this night of Jum'ah. So we want to remember them and inshallah give them the sawab of Surah Fatiha. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to giving me the blessing of being here, and it's always great joy and pleasure to be with KLC brothers and sisters and family. And I pray to Allah that inshallah our time here would be very blessed, very special, and something that would help us to understand better how we can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and bring people closer to each other. Something that inshallah would have a big mark on our life, and it's very likely if inshallah we try hard and Allah inshallah accepts, in these 2-3 days inshallah we can achieve a lot. And I have to thank all the brothers and sisters who worked hard to organize and plan everything. We pray to Allah to bless them and bless their life, and also all the people who are helping here, and all of you who have managed to spare some time and come here. So may Allah inshallah bless all of you. Because some of the people might be new to KLC, and also as a reminder for those who are already familiar with this, I would like to mention very briefly how Kawsar Learning Circle started, to continue what Brother Jihad mentioned. And I always take it as a ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I hope inshallah this will be continuing and growing if we show gratitude, inshallah. So, to make it short, we had different occasions in Montreal, and alhamdulillah with brothers and sisters in Montreal we had very good times, and I was very happy with few things. One was their close relation. they were very much understanding each other, supporting each other, trusting each other, and also their dedication to learning. So if I was there for 2 days or 3 days, then we really managed to have good hours of discussion and studies. Even sometimes in, Christmas Day or 1st of January, I don't know which one was, right for Fajr, we used to get together, and we had the snow, but everyone's coming. So I was very impressed by the search and the thirst for knowledge. In several occasions, some brothers and Sister Fatima suggested that, Brother Jihad al-Mubarak and Sister Fatima suggested we should have a kind of online program for Hawza. And I have always had this idea that Hawza cannot be online. Hawza is something that, to begin with, you should do it face to face. I say it's like marriage. You cannot start marriage with online, but after you marry, you may separate for something and keep in touch. But two people cannot marry just being away. So in Hawza, we need unity between teacher and students. And I think it doesn't work just online. But those who have studied in Hawza, yes, they can continue. But they kept asking, and then I received an email from Brother Jihad, and I have that email still, speaking on behalf of the group, but also his own personal understanding. And that email made me really embarrassed to say no. And so I decided to discuss it. At that time we had a conference in Oxford, and Sister Fatima Ali was invited to come. So we had a Skype, and Sister Fatima was in our home, so we were in London, and Brother Jihad and Mubarak were in Montreal. And we were discussing the possibility of starting something. And they said also, we don't take that much of your time, we just watch the lectures, and you tell us how to go. And just we would have every week one session, So we had this Skype, and based on my understanding of Velaya, but without thinking that much about this, I said, if you find about 8-10 people from 4 cities, we start. And still I am wondering, that how I said 4 cities, because it was easier to say 1 city, But I said no, from 4 cities. So they took the challenge, and they started talking to the friends who were committed to study 1 hour per day, which is 7 hours per week. And then when our deadline came, they said we have, I think, 30 people in 7 cities. So that's the very first KLC group, the first circle. And Alhamdulillah, we started, and I was very happy that, mashallah, we have this group of people that without advertisement, without any publicity, they showed interest. And also it was interesting because, you sometimes need to practice something. On paper, it doesn't look, possible. that how just by 1 hour per day you can learn a lot if you don't stop. Because even in Jose, I remember we always had this discussion, although every year is 365 days, but most of the Jose lectures are about 100 or 120 days in Jose. Because 5 days a week, so you miss 2 days. Then you have summer, you have holidays, So 365 becomes 100, 110, 120 sessions normally. If you follow, for example, lectures of Maraja, you see it's about this. So if you study 1 hour per day continuously, so it's like 3 hours per day in a Jose year. Of course, in Jose they study more than 3 hours. They do 12, 15 hours, but still it's good. And many books can be studied. And then also, because we wanted this not to be just taking lessons, so to have mubahasa, we said we will try to have once or twice retreat. Alhamdulillah, so far, every year we had more than 2 meetings in person. Then there is gatherings in each city. People sometimes do mubahasa together. And these are the things that I think we should register, because I think we are little by little, inshallah, understanding what would be a good model for studying. And although we use internet and we are not together all the time, but we have managed to make it as much as possible to face-to-face study. And even maybe the relation that we have in the group is somehow more than people who study the same Jose, but they just go to the class and disappear. So the unity that we have, alhamdulillah. So this is for me a learning thing. I am learning and reflecting, and inshallah, when we think this model is very well developed and cooked, then inshallah maybe we can introduce it to larger, inshallah, circles. And then another thing which we, alhamdulillah, started was to involve KLC brothers and sisters in some of our interfaith and academic programs, because now we have a network. So alhamdulillah, now we can always find different good people for different things. So alhamdulillah, we had a program March last year in Geneva and Monte. So we had 20 people, and many of them were from KLC. In Italy, we had 23 people, most of them were from KLC. Inshallah, in April, again, most of them will be from KLC. So we are not just limiting it to taking some lessons on aqaid and akhlaq, but we try to, inshallah, work together. And I think, as I have said before, one of the best things that we can offer to Imam Mahdi, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, is to say to Imam, we are a group of people from different cities, not one city, but we are united and we are at your service. That's, I think, one of the greatest, is much better than dedicating a building or, I don't know, money or anything. This is the best thing. So we have lots of hope in KLC, and right now I was sitting there and looking at this beautiful table dress with KLC logo, and I had a special feeling looking at the logo, and for me it's like something sacred. But I was thinking maybe it's selfish, because you are involved in it, you think it's sacred. But I don't know. It's selfish or not, Allah knows. But for me, it's sacred. The name Kawthar, the name learning and circle, and you people that have gave flesh and blood to this logo. So for me, this is sacred. So our time here is like a kind of etikaf, but we are not fasting, but I think it's a kind of ibadah. So I have lots of hope in KLC, and I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many times I think about this, and I say, Alhamdulillah, this is great hope. Because, we know there are many problems in the world, many challenges. And sometimes we need to give hope to each other, not only just to repeat problems. One of the things that sometimes I mention to people as something which is giving hope is KLC. Because, mashallah, so much good is happening without any formality, without any budget, without any, building or resources, yeah? Just natural. So it's very good. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this. And we pray that inshallah we can continue. And as I said also in one of the lectures, I don't know when was exactly that I said this, that I said my request is from people who are in KLC to make sure that they finish the course in Muharram, yeah? To finish the course, because, we have put lots of hope in this. And it's very important that people actually finish the course. Your completion of the course is not just you complete a course. Your completion of the course is a kind of accomplishment for the KLC. It gives hope to others, encourages others. You contribute to developing a model. If God forbids, I am not doing enough, you don't do enough, and this model doesn't bring out all the potential that it has, then we would be responsible. So I hope, inshallah, you work hard on completing the course also, and not giving priority to other things which are of course important, but the completion of the course is also very important, and inshallah makes other people also determined. What we are going inshallah to do in these 2-3 days, you have already been given, I think, the itinerary. And in the things that I am doing, inshallah, I am flexible. If you have suggestions, we can change it. If Sister Fatima Ali doesn't mind, I am happy to be flexible. But the main thing is we want to use this time for exchange of ideas and opinions, because we need all the time to exchange, like blood circulation. So this is very important. If you have some ideas to share with me, with other people, that's the best time. And if there are, suggestions, concerns, anything, that's the best time to discuss. And also this is the best time also to practice social wilaya. Here, I heard from Sister Fatima that they said we are the largest group that are using this for winter retreat. And they were concerned about the number, but they were told that, alhamdulillah, the people who come are very united. So this is great opportunity for us to maintain and deepen our unity, inshallah. Living together is very important. And anything we can do to make this stay for other people more convenient and more meaningful is our ibadah. So I'm sure we shouldn't think about only our own convenience. For tonight, I thought we talk about Hadith of Unwan al-Basri. I'm sure you are familiar with this Hadith. The first time I came to know this Hadith was in my first or second year of study in the Hosea. So this is 1982, 83, or maximum 84, but I think it was the first, early second year. So I had a conversation over phone with Ayatollah Hassanzadeh Amuli. Because I was a Talabi, I had lots of questions, so sometimes I kept phoning a scholar. At that time, they were more available. Now they are old and some of them are ill. So I asked for some advice, and especially for also, because I knew that for my questions, just learning is not enough. You should be convinced in your heart. So one of the things that I was advised for spirituality was this hadith, Unwan al-Basri. And I had a friend in the same madrasa whose calligraphy was good. So I asked him to write this for me on a piece of paper, and I put it on my bookshelf. So I used to read and think about it. So this hadith is mentioned by Sheikh Bahai Rahmatullah Alayh in his Kashkul. And Sheikh Bahai has many books. He has 3 volumes, what we call Kashkul. Kashkul is for Sufis, Darwish. They have like a bowl that they carry with them. They put everything inside that. Because this has scattered ideas, things, it's called Kashkul. So you find something about hadith, then something about nahw, something about history. So it's very good for leisure time if you want, to study or read something not very deep and focused. So he says that there was a person called Unwan al-Basri. Of course, he quotes from Sheikh Unwan and then from Sheikh Ahmed al-Farahani. Then says there was someone called Unwan al-Basri. And he was an old person. Kana shaykhan kabiran. Sheikh by itself means old here, and kabir means very old. So shaykhan kabiran was very old. Even older than me. عليه قد أتى عليه 94 سنة. So he was 94 years old. And he says كنت أختلف إلى مالك بن أنس سنين. I used to have regular كنت أختلف means I was regularly visiting Malik ibn Anas for years to seek advice. فلما قدم جعفر الصادق المدينة اختلفت إليه. When Imam Sadiq came to Medina, and I don't know what he meant when Imam came to Medina, because Imam was in Medina, maybe after a trip or I don't know. He says, أحببت أن آخذ عنه كما أخذت عن مالك. I love to also learn from him, in the same way that I learned from Malik. So he says, I went to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, and Imam Sadiq told me, إني رجل مطلوب ومع ذلك لي أوراد في كل ساعة من آناء الليل والنهار. Imam said, I am a busy person. Matlub means many people want me. There's a great demand on me. It can also mean I am in debt. Matlub means I'm in debt. It can also mean there is a great request coming to me. And also I have some awrad. I have some special a'mal and zikr to do. في كل ساعة من آناء الليل والنهار. So Imam Sadiq had very organized day and night. What he should do at this time in day, what he should do at this time in the night. So he said, لا تشغلني عن وردي. Don't make me unable to keep my routine. وخذ عن مالك واختلف إليه. Go to the same person that you have been going and taking. فاغتممت من ذلك. He says, I became sad. وخرجت من عنده, and I left him. I came out. وقلت في نفسي. I said to myself, لو تفرس في خيرا لما زجرني عن الاختلاف إليه والأخذ عنه. If he had seen in me something good, he would not have stopped me going and learning from him. Perhaps Imam, of course he didn't believe in Imam as the Imam because he was not a Shia, but he had great respect. So he didn't see in me something good. فدخلت مسجد الرسول صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وسلمت عليه. I visited Masjid al-Nabi and said salam to the Prophet, and then ثم رجعت من الغد إلى الروضة. Then the next day also I went to Masjid al-Nabi وصليت فيها ركعتين, and I said 2 rak'ah prayer, and I said أسألك يا الله يا الله أن تعطف علي قلب جعفر. Oh Allah, please make the heart of Ja'far ibn Muhammad, soft and, kind with me. وَتَرْزُقَنِي مِنْ عِلْمِهِ مَا أَهْتَدِي بِهِ إِلَى صِرَاطِكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. Please give me rizq from his knowledge, what can help me to go to the right path. وَرَجَعْتُ إِلَى دَارِي مُغْتَمًّا. Look at how much he was interested in learning. So he was pushed back, but he didn't stop. He did dua, again he went there, and he said, I was sad. وَلَمْ أَخْتَلِفْ إِلَى مَالِكِ ibn Anas. I stopped going also to Malik ibn Anas. لِمَا أُشْرِبَ قَلْبِي مِنْ حُبِّ جَعْفَرٍ. Because the love for Imam Sadiq was put in my heart. I was not able to go to any other teacher or person to learn. فَمَا خَرَجْتُ مِنْ دَارِي إِلَّا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ الْمَكْتُوبَةِ. I kept staying at home. I didn't go outside for anything except for Salatul Wajib. Go into mosque, say my Salat and go back. It's very important. If Allah finds in us that we have so much thirst for learning, He will help us. So he says, then hatta ila sabri. Then my sabr, my patience was too difficult to maintain patience and be patient. Then he says, فَلَمَّا ضَاقَ صَدْرِي تَنَعَلْتُ وَتَرَدَّيْتُ وَقَصَدْتُ جَعْفَرٍ. When it was then too much and my chest was not able to take the pain more, I put on my shoes, I took my rida and went to see Ja'far ibn Muhammad again. وَكَانَ بَعْدَمَا صَلَّيْتُ الْعَصْرِ, and I had said my Salatul Asr. فَلَمَّا حَضَرْتُ بَابَ دَارِهِ, when I reached the door of his home, استأذنت عليه, I asked for permission to enter. فخرج خادم له, a servant came and said, ما حاجتك, what do you want? فقلت السلام على الشريف, I said I want to say salam to the noble house lord. فقال هو قائم في مصلاه, he said Imam is praying. فجلست بحذاء بابه, so I sat just next to the door, I didn't leave. فما لبث إلا يسيرا إذ خرج خادم, after a short time the servant came again and said ادخل على بركة الله, enter with the blessing of Allah, enter. فدخلت وسلمت عليه, I entered and said salam to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. فرد السلام, Imam replied وقال اجلس. This is very important. It's very important to see Imam, but it's more important that Imam says sit. If he doesn't say sit, if it is quick, then you have to go quickly. But when Imam says sit, that's very beautiful. So Imam said, sit. غَفَرَ اللَّهُ لَكَ. Imagine, just at the beginning, Imam started with maghfirah for him, asking Allah to give maghfirah. فَجَلَسْتُ فَأَطْرَقَ مَلِيًّا ثُمَّ رَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ. I sat, and for some time Imam kept silent and then raised his head. وَقَالَ أَبُو مَنْ. Imam said, what's your nickname? He didn't, because in Arab culture it's very respectful if you ask and call people with their kunya. So Imam said first, Abu Man. Qultu Abu Abdullah. So he had the same kunya like Imam. Imam said, Thabbatallahu kunyatak. So may this kunya that you have, that you are father of servant of God, be real for you. وَوَفَّقَكَ يَا أَبَا عَبْدِ اللَّهِ. And then quote him his name, may Allah give you tawfiq, O Abu Abdullah. This is Imam telling him, مَا مَسْأَلَتُكَ. What's your question or request? فَقُلْتُ فِي نَفْسِي لو لم يكن لي من زيارته والتسليم غير هذا الدعاء لكان كثيرا. I said to myself, if I have not gained and I'm not going to gain anything except that I had the opportunity to see him and Imam has prayed for me, that would be enough. It's kathir, it's a lot. ثم رفع رأسه. Then Imam again raised his head and said, ما مسألتك. What do you want? What's your question? فقلت سألت الله أن يعطف قلبك علي ويرزقني من علمك. I ask Allah to make your heart soft and kind with me and give me from your ilm. وأرجو أن الله تعالى أجابني في الشريف ما سألته. I hope that Allah has given me in you what I had asked him. فقال, then Imam Sadiq alayhi salam started talking. So this hadith is very important, and I read in some places that Ayatollah Qazi Rahmatullah Alayhi used to advise people to read this hadith and try to implement this hadith. Ya Abu Abdullah, Imam is talking to him with respect, with love, after he showed that because sometimes they don't show first attention to see who is really serious and who is not. So Imam said, لَيْسَ الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ. This is the very famous part. In some versions they say لَيْسَ الْعِلْمُ بِكَثْرَةِ التَّعْلِيمِ وَالتَّعَلُّمِ. But here is لَيْسَ الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ. Knowledge is not a matter of learning. Means it's not something that is guaranteed to achieve by conventional learning. You cannot say, if you study this many numbers, or if you read these many books, you become alim. There are people who have studied more than this and have not become alim. There are people who have studied less, maybe they have been. Of course, this doesn't mean you should not study in a conventional way, you should not take it. It means that this is not going to guarantee. You start with this, but this is not going to finish the job. لَيْسَ الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ إِنَّمَا هُوَ نُورٌ يقع في قلب من يريد الله تبارك وتعالى أن يهديه. Knowledge is the light that Allah puts into the heart of someone that He wants to guide. So, through taking lessons, going to teachers, going to a school, to hawza, reading books, asking questions, mubahasa, you try to qualify yourself to be given the gift of knowledge. The gift of knowledge is not given free of charge. What we are doing is not knowledge and is not guaranteeing knowledge, but we qualify ourselves to receive the gift of knowledge. If Allah says that we are really working hard and we are sincere. فَإِنْ أَرَدْتَ الْعِلْمِ, if you want really to be knowledgeable, فَاطْلُبْ أَوَّلًا فِي نَفْسِكَ حَقِيقَةَ الْعُبُودِيَّةِ. The very first thing that you have to do, and this is something that of course remains for the rest of our life, this is not something you can retire from, reality of servitude. حقيقة العبودية, not ibadah, ubudiyya. Many times we have discussed that there's a difference between ibadah and ubudiyya. Ibadah means worship. To be a worshipper is great, but it's not sufficient. To be servant is more important than being worshipper. Yeah? So, you must seek in yourself حقيقة العبودية, real servitude. And the second thing, وَاطْلُبِ الْعِلْمِ بِاسْتِعْمَالِهِ. Also seek knowledge by using it and putting into practice. Because if we have knowledge and we don't practice, then how we can say to Allah, give me more? If Allah is kind, He shouldn't give us more, because if He gives us more and we are not using, it will be working against us. So it is His kindness that He doesn't give ni'mah more to the people who are not grateful. Yeah? لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. Also the other side is also because of His kindness, that if you are not grateful, He is not going to increase, because if you have not already been doing well with what you have, why He gives you more, so that it would add to your responsibility. So, ubudiyah is very important. Isti'mal, using what we know, is also very important. Wastafhimillah yufhimka. Also, ask Allah for understanding. Then Allah will make you understand. So, now, before I continue, I want all of us to think about this sentence. So, I repeat, in aradta al-ilm, if you want knowledge, فَاطْلُبْ أَوَّلًا فِي نَفْسِكَ حَقِيقَةَ الْعُبُودِيَّةِ. First in yourself, in your soul, seek the reality of knowledge. So my question for you is, what's the relation between ubudiyya and knowledge? Is there any natural relation, or it is just a condition that if you have ubudiyya, Allah gives you? Or you can say, actually ubudiyya through a mechanism qualifies you for receiving knowledge, because these are not things which are separated and disconnected. Yeah, so you have to understand how ubudiyya helps with gaining knowledge. وَاطْلُبِ الْعِلْمِ بِاسْتِعْمَالِهِ. How practicing what we know helps us in gaining knowledge. And وَاسْتَفْهِمِ اللَّهُ يُفْهِمْكَ. Ask Allah for understanding. Imam doesn't say ask Allah for knowledge. Here it says ask Allah for understanding. Because true knowledge comes with understanding. If we just say knowledge, people may think it's a matter of information, but this is a matter of understanding. So we want to see what's the difference between knowledge and understanding. And second, what does it mean? Istafhimillah yufhimka. Ask Allah for knowledge and understanding, and He will make you understand. So, if we can stop 5 minutes and you think about these few things. If you want also to discuss with your friends, no problem.